Morning. Daisy. The pain stream. The pain stream. Why do I feel like saying it like that? I don't know. Reminds me of something. I'll have to think of it. The pain stream. Pain. Arr. I told my career coach about it yesterday, and I told her about the videos and what I was thinking of doing with them. And I told her morphed into 4 different streams. And then the last one I mentioned was the pain stream. Oh, I know where that comes from. So when Eckhart Tolle wrote A New Earth, there was a series Oprah did where every week they would review a different chapter. And it was excellent, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the things that I was instrumental and helped me tremendously when I was going through my difficult period. Yeah, I was thinking when I would tell you about the difficult period. Maybe I'll do that today. Some of it. So in that, there's something called the pain body. And in one of the videos, she says, the pain body. So this is the pain stream. But anyway, so I was telling my career coach about the 4 streams, and the last stream I said, the pain stream. And she was like, the what? I was like, the pain stream. She was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I was like, yeah, it is interesting. So fun. Pain. Yay. Anyway, okay, let me talk a little bit about my personal life right now so you can get a background. So during this time, it seems up until now, and at some point it'll transition into other pain. It was the Great Recession of 2000 and 2008, and I was out of work for the first time in my life twice during that time, record levels of unemployment. No, I wasn't getting unemployment because, so what happened was I was working for a big company, large company, and I wanted to get away. Actually, I wanted to get away from my boss, who was very creepy and stalkery, and just wanted to get away from him. So I I took the first job that I could get in the company, and went to the marketing team. But I was interviewing at other places so I can get back to the role that I was in. I probably, in hindsight, should have stayed in marketing. There's a much larger market for that in society than what I do. So, but I didn't know that then. So I wanted to get back to what I do, and interviewed at other firms. And there was another firm that was a startup that was, I had been talking to for 6 months, and they were just waiting for the right role for me. So there were about 3 roles. Finally, we found the perfect role. So they hired me, gave me some very small shares of the company, sign-on bonus. Great, so excited. I'm going to find a home. I'm going to work in New York. It's going to be so cool, working for a startup. So I left my job. I gave them 2 weeks. And in these types of companies, you don't stay there for 2 weeks. You just leave and you're done. But they pay you out for the 2 weeks. So they paid me out for the 2 weeks. I was done to start another company in 2 weeks. So I left there on a Tuesday. No, I left there on a Friday. And that's Sunday. So 2 days later, in the worst recession of our lives. Lehman Brothers goes under. I get a phone call on Monday saying, we're so sorry. Actually, it might have been the Tuesday. We're so sorry. We're going out of business. We were funded by Lehman. There's no job for you to come to. So I didn't get the sign-on bonus. I didn't get anything. I couldn't get unemployment because I had quit my job. And I was engaged just got engaged like 2 months before that. So that wasn't fun. That was very disheartening. But that was just the beginning. So that was difficult. I had to tell my fiance, who I knew wouldn't be happy about it. He didn't want me to leave in the first place because I worked for a big company, and it was important in his family to work for big companies or the government. Taking risks was not part of their repertoire. Taking risks, calculated risks. I mean, come on, Lehman Brothers no one could foresee that. But the timing was so perfectly awful. Had I waited a couple days, it was just so crazy that I had been talking to this company for 6 months, and that is the time where I decided to do this, or it came together to do this. So I was out of work. It took about 3 months to find another job, about the same pay that I was making, so that wasn't that bad. Closer, cooler place. It was in Hoboken, which is great. I'd love to work in Hoboken again. I'd love to live in Hoboken. But then, maybe I was there for 2 years. How long was I there for? 1 year, 1.5 years. So the recession is still going on. I got married. Let's talk about that part another time. So let's move on. So that happened. So that was in September, I guess, of 2008. So that impacted my marriage, which was a huge red flag. Although my fiance was supportive of me, in that he was trying to be supportive. Definitely made it very clear that he knew all along this was a bad move, and why did I do this, and he had thought that being with me was a ticket to financial security because I'm smart and I had this good job. And then when I lost that job, it rocked his world, in that I may not be as financially secure as he had once thought. So the relationship started to take a turn for the worst. Like I said, that was September. We got married the next May. FYI, folks, there's no such thing as security. There's no such thing as security in life. There's no such thing as security in a relationship. There's no such thing as security in a job. You might feel more secure in certain situations, but that's an illusion. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I want to say don't use other people for that, but people will. I understand. Sometimes you feel like you're drowning and you need a life preserver, and some people look like that, some jobs look like that, some things look like that. Anyway, it was during this difficult time, after the first job loss, that I started writing these books. when we get to the other, further along, I'll go into the rest of the fun times. But we're getting along here, so let's start. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Oprah Winfrey. Oh, that's for sure. When I was going through this difficult time, I definitely found out, people that I thought were unshakable friends were gone because they weren't, at least in my opinion, there for me when I needed them. And when you're used to not needing people, people get used to you not needing them. And then you attract people who aren't necessarily good when they are needed as a friend. I never needed anyone before. And all of a sudden I did, in my mid-30s. And that's not the time to figure out that you've cultivated the wrong friendships, or you haven't cultivated mutually give and take friendships. Oprah Winfrey. Taking the bus. A true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. Oh. That's from Arnold Glassow, Glassow. A true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. Yeah. So when a friend gets in your way when you're going down, try not to yell at them. Because they'll point out what you're doing and you'll be defensive. But try to appreciate that only true friends are going to do that, because nobody else gives a shit. I don't need a friend who changes when I change and who nods when I nod. My shadow does that much better. That's from Plutarch. Plutarch. Yeah. You can say that for all relationships, right? I have friends in overalls whose friendship I would not swap for the favor of the kings of the world. I'm sure that's true. That was Thomas A. Edison, who lived here in New Jersey, and you should go see his museum because it's cool. I guess it's not his, but I don't know if it's the state of New Jersey. Okay. Thankful meditations. I am a powerful being who is creating everything she wants in life. That's not necessarily thankful, but it's a meditation. The universe is bountiful, and I have all of its abundance available to me. Yeah, that's true. Just so you know, I often write these things down, and I don't do them. I try, but I don't. And if that's the downfall of my life, so be it. What am I going to do? I can't get myself to do these things. But if you can, that's awesome. I have, if you look, see there's 2 cards right there on the cabinet. And you can't really see them, but all along the bottom of my cabinets, I have fortune cookies and poems and things written. And once in a while, I do look at them because they're right in my face. So maybe do that. And then people come over and they go, "What is this?" I don't know, read it. I like it. Helps. Okay, finally, because we're getting so long now. Thank you, Lord, for all of the blessing and prosperity you have given me, including health, wealth, freedom, love, a healthy, loving family, a healthy and loving spouse, a healthy and loving dog, healthy and loving friends, prosperity, and an enjoyable, rewarding, successful, and lucrative career, a secure and affordable place to live where we can raise a family, and various revenue streams to provide for and support our family. Thank you for taking care of me, insert fiance name here, and all of our loved ones. So obviously that's something I wrote that I would, I guess, try to read every day. And obviously it's more aspirational, right? I didn't have all those things, but it was the idea that if you be thankful for them and expect them to come, that they will eventually come. So, raise a family, yeah. So that'll come into play if I tell you more about the rest of the trauma. But there was a time right around when I got married that we did want to have kids, and I think mainly because like societal pressure and this is what you should do and familial pressure and everyone's doing it and what's wrong with you and don't you want this and everyone's having babies so you want to have babies and so cute and blah blah blah. And I also just happened to meet someone and get engaged during this time who also said they wanted those things, and so it just seemed like it was all coming together. And keep in mind that I don't really see a point of marriage unless you have kids. So, foreshadowing for the future. But clearly during this time, I thought I was going to have kids. And I'm so glad I didn't. But I really wanted them then. So, maybe that'll be important later when I tell you the rest, okay? Almost 20 minutes, sorry about that. I don't know why I'm so obsessed about that. I don't want to fill my storage space either. Pain stream. Catch you tomorrow. Peace out.